The original hall, being 1,800 square metres, was opened in 2005, and in 2015 we've added another 2,000 square metres, and we've aptly named this hall the J.J. Hurley Pavilion in recognition of one of our industry icons and part of the Brown and Hurley Group. So come on through and let's have a look around this new magnificent hall. A benefit here at the Hall of Fame is that you can follow the evolution of the Kenworth truck in Australia. From the very first truck produced in 1971, a K125, right through to the C509, a tri-drive added here in 2015.
Grandfather joined in Rockhampton in 1915, I'm pretty sure, and he joined the Light Horse Regiment, hence this hat and the horses here on this part of it, and went from there. After training in Egypt, I think they went to France, and he fought in several battles over there, and then went into the artillery.
Okay, well Howard, this is the first Kenworth we ever sold. It was sold to a fellow by the name of Doug White from Toowoomba, who was shifting oil rigs and stuff with it, and spent all its life doing heavy work. We traded it in 2 or 3 times over its lifetime, but for our 40 years in business, I got it back and I restored it for that. So we've had it ever since. It's spent some time here.
It's the first of the 50th anniversary, which is 50 years to the day that my father bought this, I bought this.
Yeah, I'm Gary Kennedy from Kennedy Trailers in Bairnsdale. Yeah, we sort of got into the trailer business years ago after I did my welding apprenticeship. Always being around trucks and trailers and logging machinery and stuff like that. I wasn't much of an operator, and I thought, well, I might as well repair the stuff. I like being around it. And one day I got asked if I wanted to build a log jinker, and
everybody in the territory.
We're at the Alice Springs Truck Show and we just invented the new mirror on the bull bar here. That there, sitting in the driver's seat, look down there and you can see anything's in front of you. What a good idea.
G'day, I'm Bernie Leeson from Sydney and this is my old W900B here and we're here at the Alice. Originally it came out with a 350 in it and a 10-speed. Now it's got a 525 N14 Plus and with an 18-speed. Still got the original diffs, still got the original rear end in it, which is an Air Glide 100. And yeah, she's served me very, very well over the years and it's done very well actually. Yeah, the old 900, because we used to do a lot of interstate, a lot of country work, we've got the barbecue on there and everything, so it's all even the truck itself is self-sufficient, but mainly for a bloke. It's not the kind of woman self-sufficient type of truck. But she's got a heap of special features, this old girl. Yeah, as you can imagine, it's a bit dirty at the moment, but that's where we do our little bit of cooking. We've got that's our little pantry here. So I'll make a cup of tea, and everybody's happy with that.
Anyway, my life changed 17th of March 2011. Unfortunately, I lost my son from suicide. From there onwards, I thought, well, which way do I go in life? I go forward or I go backwards. So the support of my family and friends at the time was magnificent. It was unbelievable. So we went from one side of life to another side of life, and we just grew from there and turned a bad thing into a good thing. And
I'd just like to pay a tribute to Craig Membry. You can't believe the immeasurable grief that, unless you've been through it, that losing a child brings to your life. And very few people are able to, one, talk about it publicly, and two, turn the grief into so much that's so positive. So good on you, Craig, and I'd like to give you another round of applause. I'm here to launch Liz's new book this morning, but I'll just rattle on for a little bit beforehand. The first thing I'd like to say is that I've been in this industry for more than 50 years. I just can't tell everyone how proud I am to have been here for so long. You go through ups and downs and experience and know of tragedies and everything else, but the amazing capacity for people to bounce back from those things is no more demonstrated or no more positively demonstrated than in what we do. And a few people have said to me in the recent past that the industry's buggered. Well, if you walk outside and start adding up the dollars of the gear that's parked up and down that paddock, I'd hate to be here when it's totally buggered. And I'd also like to pay tribute to the vision that led to this place being here, because it immortalises what we do and what we drive and who we are and where we've been, and probably even gives us a bit of an idea of where we might be able to go. And without that vision, without Liz not being able to convince the people that she was too busy when it all started, it probably wouldn't be here. So we'll pay a little bit more of a tribute to Liz in a sec. But anyway, the thing that stands out most about this place is the energy. You know, you're out here in the middle of Australia, which is a wonderful place to preserve things, and it just sort of, the energy that goes on during the reunion, and I'm sure there's heaps of non-reunion times, is just incredible. And that energy starts with Liz Martin, the author of this book I'm about to launch. If you had a fleet of trucks and Liz was a driver, you'd need 3 trucks just for her to drive. It's just quite amazing. And in the background of the book I'm going to drag mostly from the editorial, but that's where she mentioned about being too busy when the people had the vision to want to start this place. And she says it's been a mammoth year for the Hall of Fame with one thing and another, especially with the writing of this book. Well, Liz has done a lot of writing, but the amount of writing and effort and research that's gone into this book is absolutely incredible. How she found time to do anything else other than that, I do not know. She says here that we were naive enough to think that because the book's about Australia's road transport heritage, and it lists all the different trucks that have worked in Australia, up to what Liz has been able to find out about now. And she says we were naive enough to think we'd peak at 120 to 150 marks, maybe 200 tops. The listing in the book has over 500 makes, and we've actually culled another 50 as we haven't yet sourced enough information to include them. So that means that volume 2 is already in the planning stages. Where did the energy come for that? But anyway, it's a beautiful book. I've had a quick flick through it. I can only recommend it to all of you. It's a piece of, it's a little bit of industry treasure, and it pays tribute to us all, but most of all to its author. So thanks very much, Liz.
Thank you. The book actually has my name on the front of it, and I did write it, but I've had a lot of support from a lot of people. And I'd just like to acknowledge those particular people first. Number one is Cheryl Ives. So Cheryl, would you like to come out here, please? She had no idea I was going to do this, but the book wouldn't be here without the hundreds and thousands of hours that Cheryl also put in it. She threatens me with that every day. But our offices are adjoining. We've got a sliding window between us that stayed open during the duration of the book. I'd say get me a photo of, research on the internet, can you check how to spell that name? And it was just constant. She went up, worked with the actual publishing people in Darwin, and it really wouldn't be there and as good if it wasn't for Cheryl's effort. So number one for Cheryl, thank you. The other two people I'd like to thank are firstly David Kent, who's leaning over there standing on the books. And every night we'd send him 4 or 5 pictures by email and say, what the hell are these? Or we'd ring up and just check some of the technical specifications and mechanical details on things that we weren't sure of. He'd get phone calls at midnight, he'd get phone calls at 7 a.m. And we probably drove him crazy too. Thank you, David. And the third person, there she is over there, is Andra. Put your hands up, Andra. Andra and I have actually worked on 5 books together over 7 years, 8 years, and we actually met each other this morning for the first time. So how amazing is that? Because Andra works in Sydney, does a lot of stuff. She's looked after our sponsorship for this particular book. We set a goal for her to reach, and she almost, well, we did double it, didn't we? Tripled it. We tripled it. We tripled the goal. And the industry has come to the fore with that book. We raised nearly $300,000, or just over $300,000. It's cost us around about $180,000 to $200,000 by the time we've paid all our costs. The purpose of the book is to set up a charitable trust or foundation so that when we're all gone or too old to do what we do here, we have a strong, solid financial background to ensure that the Historical Society can continue to research our history and acknowledge what I think is an industry that's never been given its rightful place in Australia's heritage. We tend to sit on the peripheral of every other industry. No one thinks of us as an industry in our own right, and yet every solitary other industry in Australia depends on us for their profitability and their continued existence. So it's the trucking industry that deserves the pat on the back for the things you do for Australia, both historically and today in our modern economy. The book, as Bob said, we were silly enough to think we'd sit down, spend 6 months, write about Max and Kenworth and Freightliners and Western Stars and Hinos and all those other things we know all about. But every now and then someone would send us a picture and we'd go like, oh my God, what is that? And you know, we had people literally, we put it on Facebook, people responded literally from all over the world. They sent us different photos and all sorts of things, and we just sat there like 300, okay, fine, 350, we can do that. Like, where the hell are all these coming from? So we have over 500 in the book, almost 600, and we've actually, as Bob said, got another 50 or 60 that we haven't been able to track down enough information on. As you're aware, there's a lot of contradictory information out there on different makes and different people in the industry. This is our starting point. It will hopefully continue to grow. All proceeds from the book are to support our foundation. They will go into the foundation. The leftover money from the sponsorship will go into the foundation. The foundation is open for other people to contribute to, so that we always have the strong background to make sure we continue to exist after our current board of management and myself and all the other people who are obsessed with the place go on to other things. Thank you very much for coming.